We know it isn't Tuesday, and we're normally here on Tuesdays, but we had some internet issues yesterday in Casey's End in Florida. So we are here today instead. Internet is up and running, so we're good to go. So today we're going to be talking to you guys a bit about kind of where Casey and I are both at in terms of our arthritis and autoimmune journeys and what that looks like. So how we look after ourselves, what's changed from when we were ill to how we manage our symptoms and keep ourselves healthy now. But before we get started, we'll just quickly introduce ourselves for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are. My name is Jessica Melnick. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, the founder of the Anti-Arthritis Method, the host of the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions Group, and I help both women and men with various forms of arthritis get back to living life the way they choose to, not the way they have to. And I'll pass it on to you, Casey.
Awesome. First of all, hi, Rocky. You're adorable.
Rocky, he likes to be involved sometimes.
Giving you like this cold shoulder of like, Mom, you can see me, but you're not paying attention to me kind of thing.
Yeah, and he'll probably try to climb onto the computer at some point too.
I kind of miss that Gustav was doing that, and now he just does it. I'm a little offended. But anyways, I am Casey Kephart. I'm a functional medicine nutritionist, and I am the founder of the Feel Good Formula. I work with women with all different types of autoimmune diseases to get you back to the activities you love to do, trash those symptoms, and get your life back. And I reside in St. Petersburg, Florida, where the sun always shines, and now it rains every day because we are in rainy season, but the sun still shines.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So when does rainy season run until? Like how many months or how?
I feel like May to October, and I could be wrong with that, but it's like most of all of the summer months. You know you're going to get a shower, you just hide under a tree if you're outside, and then it goes away in like 20 minutes. Literally today I was driving home and it was raining, but the skies were sunny and blue, and it was really interesting.
That is so strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't experience that very much.
No, neither in the Midwest, like Chicago where I grew up. It's just rainy all day or gloomy, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Well, we are having very unusual weather here in Saskatchewan. We're having really, really hot and humid weather, which is it's never this hot this early in our summer. And it's usually never ever humid. It just isn't. Like we have a bunch of lakes in Saskatchewan. I have no idea where this humidity is coming from. I actually am really, really enjoying it though, because I usually only wear shorts about maybe 3 days the entire summer. I am exaggerating a little bit, but it pretty much feels like that. I can literally count the days where it's like warm where I live.
Wow.
And I'm loving it. I, try to sneak out and sit on my anti-gravity chair just to get soak up some of that warmth during the day when I can, because it's just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's a benefit of not having to work at an office.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
But yeah, I guess let's get into it. I was thinking about this today, and it's been about, I think, 9 years now since I had my first arthritis symptoms. And of course, back then I had no idea what the heck was going on with me. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I think my flare-ups were quite my episodes of arthritis were quite spread out for a period of years before I really I got into nutrition and schooling, and then of course, which led me to figure out what to do how to manage my symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back, 9 years ago and what my life looked like, it was a hugely stressful time in my life. I had multiple stressful life changes that I was experiencing and had experienced. So some people in our community have heard me tell my story on my webinar, but basically I had recently gone through a divorce. I had moved back home to Saskatoon from a different city where I was living with my ex-husband. I had switched careers. It was I completely turned my life around, just completely different from what I was doing for about a decade previous. And I went back to school. I was just burning the candle at both ends in terms of my career change, and then working on schooling in the evenings. I wasn't sleeping enough. I was totally exhausted. And even when I was exhausted, I was still doing intense exercise. Even if I was sore, I was just pushing myself through it because, gotta be fit, gotta be healthy. And I was, of course, newly single and,
The
wanted to
hot
be,
girl summer.
yeah. We didn't have that expression back then. All I knew was like I just wanted to make sure that I looked good as I was getting back in the dating scene after like a decade.
Right, your hot girl summer, basically.
But it was really stressful. So yeah, I was getting up so early in the morning and doing this intense exercise and like sometimes feeling like I was gonna fall asleep at work some days. Like, oh my goodness, I was so tired, like staying up late working on school and then of course at the end taking some time to watch some TV before I went to bed and passed out probably within 2 minutes because I was so beyond exhausted, just pushing myself every day, for years, literally years. And then my body said no, and it just fell apart on me. And it was really confusing because I was eating what most people would consider a super, super healthy diet. I was eating probably mostly vegan, I'd say at that time. Lots of things like chickpeas and legumes and tons of, salads and lots of vegetables, of course. I also was obsessed with baby tomatoes and bell peppers. I ate those
Yes.
every single day.
The like minimal calorie vegetables that we could find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I ate so much of that. Oh my goodness.
It's
And
funny because those are both nightshades too, which are just like destroying your body.
exactly. And of
Yeah.
course, I had no idea because they're also full of vitamin C, right?
Right.
And
It's supposed to be
antioxidants.
good for us.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
for some people they are. For me, no. And
Right.
of course, I didn't know that because I was still eating healthier than everybody I knew, and
Right.
it's literally.
Yeah.
So I was so confused. My body just started falling apart on me, and yeah, and my doctor was confused too. And of course, I didn't get any answers. It took years to get answers.
Oh wait, your doctor was confused? I'm sorry, what'd you just say?
It happens.
More times than not.
Yeah, especially when it comes to arthritis and autoimmunity. Most
Yeah.
of the people I talk to, tell me with arthritis, especially, it takes years sometimes to get a diagnosis, or they just don't get a lot of information from their
Yeah.
doctors about what is actually going on, like why this is happening to them, and what can they actually do about it.
Yeah.
And of course, most of the time, the focus is medication if it's an autoimmune form. Osteo is a little bit different, more so medication to control some inflammation and pain, but just a totally different set of drugs that they're usually recommending depending on what you have. So, but yes, if I fast forward and I like kind of compare to what my life looked like then at the onset of my like arthritis, and then what it looks like now, and what I've learned over the years, I always tell my clients, it is a journey. It's going to take you. This is like a lifestyle. It's a it's a thing that you're going to incorporate it into your life. It's going to become your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to figure things out as you go. And I look back on the last 9 years and so many things have changed over time. The way I eat especially has changed. The way that I exercise has changed. The way that I look after myself has changed. How I see myself,
Mm-hmm.
my boundaries, like so many things. So things that I've done over the years to really get myself healthy is go to different therapists during different periods for different reasons. So dealing with my divorce, dealing with low self-esteem and self-worth issues, dealing with the stress of career changes and identity changes, all
Mm-hmm.
these things. Like I really needed a professional to talk to. Friends and family, of course, I have lovely, supportive family and friends, but I still needed, to get some professional support too. It's just a different perspective. I think
Yeah.
when someone doesn't know you personally, to have that help from them, and that is their profession. So I'm very much
Mm-hmm.
a believer in getting a professional who is qualified to help you with
Yeah.
whatever specific issue it is that you're dealing with, if you can. So yeah, now in terms of what I eat compared to what I ate then is totally different. I would say my diet would be like AIP and paleo mix after I figured out which foods don't agree with me and things that I can have
Yeah.
sometimes, things that I should never have, and things that really support my health and that make me feel good. I also make sure that I get enough sleep. Any of you who have an autoimmune condition or arthritis know that exhaustion is a huge, huge part of it. Getting
Mhm.
enough sleep is so, so important because your body is continuously trying to heal. And if you don't let it, if you don't rest, you're not going to allow your body to do what it needs to do. So sleep is so important, not just for your physical health, but also for your mental health as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just make my nutrition, I make batch cooking a priority. I don't cook a bunch of fancy stuff. I'm not a cook. Like my fiance is the one who is a good cook. I cook to like survive kind of thing. Like I know the basics. I can make some decent, I can follow a recipe, but I like to keep things super simple. And I teach my clients how to do that
Yeah.
because a lot of us don't have the time or want to spend the time in our kitchen, like tons and tons of time, especially, we're working. If you have a family, it's just busy, so you want to try to maximize the time that you have in the kitchen. Like I said, I know you do too, Casey, do a lot of batch cooking, freezing things just so that it makes it easier, especially during the week when you don't have as much time to put dinner together. You've got
Yeah.
something that you can pull out. It's there, even with breakfast stuff too, and lunch. Well, lunch and dinner is just interchangeable, and you could with breakfast too if you're a breakfast eater.
Yeah.
Also, I have a very healthy and supportive relationship, which it's extremely different than obviously my previous marriage. And that took years for me to learn what I needed and also how I could be a healthy partner for somebody else. And I had a lot of work to do on myself as well.
Yeah.
So that and having that healthy relationship is really good for my mental health as well. So that is also something that has changed. And I've changed the way that I exercise. And part of that, I think, maybe comes with aging. And part of it is my arthritis. I have to listen to my body, I have to respect its limits, not force it and push it through like workouts that are going to leave me feeling really tired at the end. So, yes, I can exercise, but I also do a lot of low impact. So I personally like doing cardio on my tread climber. I don't even know if they sell them anymore. I have a used one. It's just really low impact, but it's a good way to get my heart rate up. I really enjoy it. It makes me feel good. It gets the endorphins going. And then I do Pilates because I found going to the gym and lifting heavy weights was really, really exhausting me. And so now I do strength training through Pilates, and I find that super helpful. Or I lift like lighter weights that are still challenging at home, but I keep those workouts to about 20 minutes max. Just because I know that if I personally myself, if I push too long and too hard, then I'm just exhausted. So that's my
Mhm.
body's limits.
Yeah.
Um, I also do things like prioritizing self care. And for me, that can be, one day I want to try a new recipe because I like to bake. So I'm going to make like a healthy version of a Bakewell tart, for example, like something I saw on a baking show, and I want to experiment and see if I can make it in paleo version. I also really love reading. So that's something I try to incorporate into my bedtime routine. So making sure that I get myself to bed at an early enough hour so I have a little bit of reading wind down time so I can get 8 hours of sleep, because I need 8 hours of sleep, sometimes nine, depending on how I'm doing. And I also love watching like funny shows or things that interest me. So just making time for things that bring me joy and that are good for my mental and physical health,
Yeah.
I think is just really key. And like I said, it looks a lot different now than it did 9 years ago. So,
But it sounds like you're prioritizing yourself more. You're more mindful of your body and know what you your body wants and needs, and you're more open to giving it that than to pushing that down, maybe like you did 10 years ago, however many years ago, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think everyone will get there in their journey to that point. Like that's where we want to be, is like listening to our body, giving it what it wants, what we're hearing from our body, because oftentimes we know what it wants, but we're pushing it down so far because we don't want to do it. And also just following through with yourself. And it takes years sometimes, but it took probably longer for us because we were doing it on our own. So for anybody listening here, you don't need to do it on your own. That's why we're here to speed up the process for you and help guide you through this process so it doesn't take as long as it did for us. I'm going on probably my 13-year journey here with autoimmune disease and still learning every single day what my body wants and needs, and verbal cues, physical cues, everything. So my life 10 to 13 years ago looked so different than it does now. And where I was then was in college, out of college, back in college for my master's degree. So in between studying, I was playing beach volleyball every night, 7 days a week at a bar where I drank every single night. I was eating bar food. I didn't really care if the fries had gluten in it or if I had a bite of pizza or a bun. I was very loose on my gluten there. And I had celiac back then too, and I knew it, but I was very loose on that boundary of mine. I was also at one point working 3 jobs and doing volleyball at the same time. So I wasn't allowing myself rest or even time to be mindful of my body and what it needed. And then in between all of that, I was in a toxic relationship where I was going crazy. I felt like I was going crazy every single day. I knew it needed to end and I just couldn't do it. And you just go back and forth and bickering. And I also had toxic relationships with my family, some toxic relationships with friends. I had a lot of drinking friends, which just mean I went out and drank. So we're developing this perfect storm of an autoimmune disease right here, where I had no downtime. I was stressed as heck. I was drinking too much. I was eating gluten sometimes, let alone all of these carbohydrates from French fries and maybe desserts that I was having, and alcohol. The margaritas were probably flowing. I didn't work on my mindset that much. So it wasn't necessarily victim mode. I've been pretty good about that, but I didn't realize I could create my life, let alone I just let my life happen to me. And that's a really uncomfortable feeling when everything just comes at you and you feel like this is how life's going to be. And then I wasn't working on myself through therapy with my childhood trauma that I went through and was still going through at that time. So I was just this tight wound ball full of internal trauma that was coming out in my relationships, in my my moods, in my education. Like it was just circulated my life basically. I was also overworking out. So just like Jessica wanted that hot girl summer, I wanted hot girl year round, all round, unhealthy wise. And I was running too much. I was doing CrossFit at the time. I maybe was not eating enough calories. So I had a very unhealthy mindset about how I looked in the mirror, and also an unhealthy aspect of what I should be doing to lose this weight. It wasn't in the correct way, especially since I had an autoimmune disease as well, which we've talked about weight loss and autoimmune disease. So that just caused more stress on my body, working out and working out and working out on top of 7 days of volleyball, on top of master's degree, working 3 jobs. Like your body can only handle so much until the shit storm just storms on you and you can't do it anymore. And that's where it ended up for me. I was having so many food sensitivities to the point where I couldn't even eat anything anymore, it felt like. And this can still happen to me. There we go. I feel like I lost internet there, but we're good, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. my computer went black. To the point where I couldn't eat anything anymore. And then if I have an autoimmune flare, which happens sometimes, super stressed, those food sensitivities can come back again. But anyways, I was so bloated. I had so much gas, fatigue. My multiple chemical symptoms were so bad. Brain fog. There was sometimes I couldn't even finish a sentence, which could have been part of the hangovers too. But needless to say, I was a storm of symptoms because I wasn't treating my body right. Now, knowing what I know, let's fast forward 10 years into my autoimmune disease journey, into learning more about myself, being more mindful of myself, educating you guys and educating myself. I've learned to have boundaries with myself, with other people, and be more consistent. So my life kind of works in buckets, and this is how I think about it in my analytical brain. Is I need to keep up with certain things to keep stable, whether that's mood stable, mental health stable, autoimmune stable, just to be a stable Casey. I need to have my stress management skills. I need to practice my movement and exercise each day. I need to get 8 hours of quality sleep. I need to be on top of my nutrition and some batch cooking. I need to be on top of my liver health, and I need to be on top of who I let in my life on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and noticing how that's affecting me. So I kind of wanted to go into that a little bit more and tell you what I'm specifically doing in these buckets too. And we probably talked about all of this on Facebook Lives and how important it is, but hearing somebody doing it every day or every week is more impactful than us kind of just telling you what to do. And this is what works for me. And like we always tell you, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, but we need to find something that does work for you, because all of these buckets are so important to heal an autoimmune disease and just keep you level-headed. So for my stress management, which is absolute key for me, because if I let that go and I let myself be too stressed, my autoimmune disease flares like no other and almost instantaneously. So to keep that at bay, I need to, when things are really heavy, I need to journal. I need to get it out of my head and in paper, whether that is something very short or something. Sometimes I can write 3 pages. It just depends on the day. I need to practice my gratefulness. I need to remember what I'm grateful about and that life isn't all that bad. My girlfriend the other day, she just said a quote that her therapist gave her was that gratefulness and anxiousness cannot coincide with each other. So when you think about being grateful, it's hard to be anxious about something. So that really put things in perspective to me, that when I get anxious, I need to start thinking about what I'm grateful for, because there's so much to be grateful for, and your mind kind of likes to play tricks on you. I also go to therapy once or twice a month. I just need that unbiased person reassuring me that I'm not freaking crazy or going off the rails here. And if I am, she will let me know and we're going to handle that. For my mental health and stress management, I need to listen to some daily affirmations, a YouTube video, somebody who is just higher than me in this personal development journey, telling me and reminding me what I need to be thinking about and what I need to be doing and how to manifest this. And I just need some positive outlook in my life. And I get that through these short YouTube videos. I need to get movement for that for that stress management. I need that positive self-talk for myself, because oftentimes my negative thoughts will go in my head about myself. And then it's almost instant now of like, Casey, why are you saying that? Casey, no, you're this, you're that, you can do this, you are, bigger than you think you are. Not in weight terms, that's what my negative self-talk would like to say, but we're better than we always think we are. We're our worst critique, right? That's
we're our own worst critics.
Thank you. And then I need to plan my week with fun. Because oftentimes I can get into that type A mode where it's like, no, I need to do this, but then I burn myself out, or it's not happening because I'm depressed because I'm having no fun. So I need to do that for my self-management and my stress management and my mental health. So then for movement and exercise each day, I get in a walk. I have to get in a walk. I have to get that sunshine in, even if it's just 5 minutes. I need to play volleyball weekly. So I made a goal for myself of 3 times weekly. I need to go out to the beach and play volleyball. I need to be social. I need to run around. But also, it makes me so happy that sometimes, yes, I need to force myself to do it, but I am so happy to do it. I'm so happy that I did it afterwards. Um, and then I've been trying to get back into yoga for some stress management to calm the heck down because I am very high strung. And my body needs that stretching and lengthening from that movement that I do. I also go on bike rides. But I don't do movement anymore that doesn't make me happy. So that was one of my lessons, was that throughout the years of this autoimmune journey, I was forcing myself to go to the gym and forcing myself to go to CrossFit or run. These are things I just don't enjoy. Why are we forcing ourselves to do things that we don't enjoy, that's just making me more stressed out and have more of a leaky gut and more of an autoimmune disease? So I only do things now that make me happy. I got asked the other day to go to the gym, and I'm like, no, why would I want to step foot in the gym? But the gym is known to produce great results and fit people and hot people. I could be fit and hot on the beach playing volleyball. So it's like a no brainer for me. And I encourage everybody to do movement that makes them happy and that you don't want to dread, because you're going to be more consistent with it. I don't negotiate on my 8 hours of sleep. So when I used to back in the day when I was sick and not paying attention to my body, now it's kind of a non-negotiable. All of my friends, relationships, family do know that my bedtime is around 9:30, and I probably won't be responding to you after that. I like to be asleep by 10. I would like to be asleep by 9:30, but I negotiate with myself in that manner. And then being on top of my nutrition. When I am not like I was before, I was just getting sicker and sicker, and that's kind of what happens now. And I get more irritable and more irritable, honestly. And it's not fun for anybody, and it's not fun for me. So I like to eat more of a high protein, high fat diet, very low carbohydrates. Sometimes I don't really stick to that very low, just because I don't know, life happens and we need balance. But when I don't stick to that, I feel gross and I don't feel good, and my autoimmune disease flares. So I also intermittent fast. That makes my body feel really happy and good and healthy. It also kills all of the bad cells and repairs all of the damaged things in your body and sweeps away all of the waste that we have. So I no longer cheat with gluten. That is a hard no for me, because I don't want to put myself through that pain anymore. Um, I make more food for leftovers for the day after, for the week, whatever. So that's my form of batch cooking, is just making more food at the time that I'm cooking. If I don't do that, like yesterday, I'm left with no food and I go out to eat and I get something that probably isn't the greatest for me. It still doesn't have gluten in it, but it's not as good as like the steak I could have made at home. I do minimal snacking. Snacking or grazing throughout the day does not fit well for me. And then back in the day, I used to just snack all day long on almonds and nuts and these, things that I thought were healthy for me that were only destroying my body. And then I try to plan ahead of time with my meals and my snacks if I'm going to eat. So I'm not just winging it. I often find that in my life, if I wing it, I don't really care for what I'm doing. So, and just a couple more things is I mentioned my liver health. So for that's been a crucial part of my healing journey, is working on my liver every day. And one of the things I have been doing is coffee enemas. And I know that sounds gross, and I know that's not a cool topic to talk about, but if you could feel the symptom relief that I have felt with coffee enemas, I swear you would do it too every single day. So I would highly encourage you to at least look it up, to talk to me about it, to maybe Google it a little bit more for your liver. But from doing that, I basically have no more bloating or gas. My brain fog is so much better. My fatigue is so much better. I can tell an immediate difference with doing the coffee enemas, because if your liver is backed up and dirty and just not running properly, that directly correlates to how your gut is going to run. So a liver problem is a gut problem, and a gut problem is a liver problem. So we need to work on it from both aspects. And also, one cool symptom is that my hangovers aren't as bad. So if you want to drink more, we got to fix the liver, people. And then the last thing that probably has one of the biggest impacts in my healing journey here is the people that I surround myself with, because it affects me internally and physically, probably more than a lot of people. And I make sure that I do not allow toxic people in my life. And when I find out that they are toxic for me, I make sure to remove them in whatever direction feels good for me, whether that's totally or just an acquaintance or backing off a little bit. But I strive to make healthy connections every single day, every single week. And I know what's toxic and not toxic for me. And I set those boundaries when I need to. When back in the day, I felt like I only wanted to be liked and I needed people in my life and I wasn't as picky. And that really affects your health. Like, that affected my health so bad to where I stayed in relationships longer than I should have, whether that be family, intimate relationships or friendships. And you kind of want that time back. So that's my journey, and I am so happy for it. I would be so happy if somebody would have told me all of this shit beforehand so I could start working on it. But that's the good thing about you guys. If you're listening to this, we are here to help, and we have been through the trenches already and can help make the trenches a little more glam for you, hopefully.
Yeah, you don't have to figure this out on your own. And you don't have to do all the things that we're doing. Like, we said, this is a process. It's been a process for both of us. And everyone's is a little bit different. And we help our clients really hone in on what those things really are so that you can really get the quality of your life back and feel great. Yeah. So, yeah, reach out to us with questions. We hope you liked our stories today and our sharing of our experiences, because we know how important it is to have people that have been through and have, been through the autoimmune conditions and the arthritis and come out the other end and have an idea of what that actually looks like. So I hope you guys found this helpful, and we'll be back next week as well. So I'll be back tomorrow with a new recipe, a nice summery one. So stay tuned. And yes, have a wonderful rest of your week, you guys.
Bye, everybody.